How much do you need to make in order to purchase a house in Greenville, Texas? That is what we're covering today. Sorry, I thought my light was off. That's the exact thing that we're going to discuss today. How much do you need to make in order to purchase a house in Greenville, Texas? We're going to look at all types of real estate, but we're going to look at three distinct price points. The lowest priced properties in Greenville right now, the average price, the mid-priced real estate in Greenville at the moment, and then we're going to go into the luxury space when it comes to Greenville. This way you get a good understanding of what the three different price points look like, along with how much you need to make in order to be able to purchase those homes in Greenville today. So let's hop into it. Let's do this right now. All right, so first things first, what we're going to do is we are going to see what type of real estate is available for sale right now in the city of Greenville, Texas. So as you can see at the present moment, there's 337 properties available for sale, with the average price point being $282. So for under $300,000, you have a ton of options with real estate in Greenville. So what we're going to do is we're going to take care of all of these. We're going to take these off, and we're going to focus on single family residence and see what we have at the present moment. So right now what we're looking at is my IDX website, which I pressed backspace for some reason, which is directly tied into the MLS. So this is going to give us all the inventory that's available for sale at the present moment through the MLS. Now this is linked down below so you can go and check it out yourself, but just a quick little recap. If you're thinking about moving to Greenville, if you have questions about this city, we have several videos on Greenville already. The pros and cons, everything you need to know about Greenville, we've done a breakdown on this. Now, as the name suggests here on the YouTube channel, this is the DFW Homeowner YouTube channel. This is the furthest northeast that we're going to get in this particular YouTube channel. So this is just barely reaching our criteria for it to be considered part of the DFW breakdown with all the content that we bring. So we have a ton of real estate professionals that are ready to serve you when you're ready to purchase. So let's do this right now. Let's go over here and remove this. And again, our goal here is to find what salary we need to make in order to purchase a home in Greenville. So what we're going to do now is, this is actually this is not single family residence. This is, as you can see, there's 272 properties for sale right now in Greenville, and it's this one is actually a land. This is a lot, what it appears to be. So there's no actual home here, so we're not going to include that. So what we're going to include is the least expensive home for sale right now in the city is $110,000. That's the least expensive home for sale in Greenville, Texas at the present moment. Then you have 120, 130. You have a good amount of properties here that some of them might need a good amount of work, some of them might be ready to go, but here, as far as single family residences where you can purchase and actually move into them, where you really wouldn't need to do too much, you're looking at the $150,000 to $200,000 price point, where it would make sense for you to buy a house and not necessarily need to do a ton of repairs to it and a ton of fixing up. So this is the real estate available for sale right now in the city of Greenville. This appears to be a rehab. Now this appears to be an investor special. All right, so let's scroll through here for a few more properties, just to give you a feel, just to give you an idea of the type of real estate that we're talking about in the city before we go and actually break down the salary necessary to purchase these homes. One of the indicators that I like to measure real estate prices against in every single city is really at what price point are we getting new homes being offered to us. In other words, what's the least expensive new builds that we can purchase? And it looks like $200,000 is where it happens to be. Now the rendering on this image isn't the best, but this is a new build home that has 1,200 square feet, 4 beds, 2 bath on it. So for $200,000 you can buy a brand new house. Same thing here, for $206,000 you're looking at a brand new build. So if your budget is south of $250,000, but you're looking for a new property, these still exist. These are homes available excuse me, right now that you can purchase for under $250,000, and they're quite sizable actually. So 1,300 is not a bad square footage, especially since we're factoring in that these are brand new builds. And this is a brand new build. This is either a rehab or a new build. This is a new build. So you have a lot of options here. All right, so let's go to the extreme. Let's go to the luxury. So well, actually, before we do that, we're gonna say that I want to get us a property that we can purchase and actually move into. I don't want to just essentially go to the least expensive home that might not be habitable. So I want to give us a fair shot of actually purchasing a property that we can actually get into and live out of. All right, so we're not going to go with that one. This one appears to be under works. We're going to go with the price point. This one appears to have some folks in it. So we're going to say $140,000 is the least expensive home for our purposes today, of a home that we can purchase and actually live in without necessarily doing a ton of work in. All right, so this is our low price point. Now we're going to need a medium price point, but before we do that, let's go to the extremes real quick and get the luxury price type of prices that we would be looking at in the city of Greenville. So we're going to go down here, and the most expensive home for sale right now in the city of Greenville is under $1 million. It's $935,000, 4,600 square feet, 4 beds, 5 baths. It looks like a really good option for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that the most expensive home for sale right now in the luxury space is this, which that'll get us a pretty cool mansion. I like that. Very cool house. Which does look like it's in a community. So what community is this? It's been a minute since I've been in the about this way. So most of our real estate professionals are the ones that take care of, actually our real estate professionals are the ones that take care of it. Beautiful area here. Check that out. Cool. Okay, now we know. All right, so now what we need to do is let's find a median price point. I believe our median price point in Greenville right now is about 280, 290. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go slightly above that just for the numbers sake. So you see a ton of new construction here. So new build, more new build. So there's a lot of new construction and affordable new construction. So you see here, this is a really good looking property. There's so many options. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say that we are trying to purchase a property here for $315. We're gonna give ourselves a $315 mark, which I think is a fair representation of the homes available for sale right now in the city of Greenville. So as you're coming in, a like is going to go a long way. It's going to really help us grow this channel and reach the people that need this type of information in their hands. So again, really appreciate all the support that you always give us. Now it's time to do some work. So again, our whole thing here is we're trying to establish how much we need to make in order to purchase a home in Greenville. So here we're on the northeast side of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. You have a lot of new construction being built right now. That's very affordable, which means you're looking at new construction, you're looking at a lot of warranties, you're looking at a lot of rebates, you're looking at a lot of opportunity to get into a home in this real estate market. So I am a fan. So what we're going to do now is we're going to calculate how much we need to make in order to purchase homes in these 3 different price points, factoring everything Greenville related. So we're going to look at the interest rates, we're going to look at the property tax rates, we're going to look at the home insurance rates, we're going to look at everything that has to do with Greenville, so we know how much we need to make if we're looking to buy in this part of the Metroplex. Let's do this. All right, so this is linked down below, by the way, our max price calculator, which is going to give us the calculation of how much we can afford depending on the income that we're making. This is linked down below, so make sure that you check that out. And yeah, that's essentially what I wanted to say. So you're going to be able to copy and paste. Basically, once you get this calculator, you're just going to go to File and then make a copy and then save it to your Google Drive, and you're off to the races. All right, so let's do this. Down payment. Let's start talking about down payment. When you purchase a property, you could purchase it outright in the form of cash, meaning that you go to your bank, take out whatever you need, $140, $350, or $935, and pay for the house outright in cash. Most people do not do that because, one, we don't have it, or just for other reasons. But more than that, oftentimes you're going to be getting a loan. Now, whenever you get a loan, that's called a mortgage in real estate. And there's different types of loans out there. You have conventional loans, FHA loans, USDA loans, which many of those could be here in Greenville based off of USDA requirements, VA loans, portfolio loans. There's so many different types of loans that you have access to when you're purchasing a property. So that's something to make note of. Now, with each one of these loans, there's certain criteria that you would need to have, whether that's credit requirements, whether it's down payment requirements, income requirements. There's several different things to consider in that regard. So what we're going to do is just to give you an idea of what loans are. If we go in a conventional loan, which is what we're going to use today to run our numbers with, if we use a conventional loan, the minimum down payment that we would need to buy this house would be 3% down, because that's the requirement for a conventional. If we were to use an FHA loan, the minimum down payment that we would need there would be 3.5%. So conventional 3%, FHA 3.5% as the minimums. Now, let's take it one step further. You could, one of the myths out there when it comes to home buying is that you need 20% down to purchase a home. That is not the case. That is a myth. You need the requirements that I just mentioned, but the reason that 20% comes up oftentimes in these conversations that, hey, you need 20% down to purchase, the reason that comes up is because people are confusing that 20% for the requirement. So if you put less than 20% down to purchase a property with a conventional or an FHA loan as an example, if you put less than 20% down, you're paying what's called mortgage insurance, which is an insurance that the lender puts on you in the event that you default. So not only does the lender take the property back if you default, but they also have some additional insurance on you in the event that that happens, so they're mitigating their losses with you. That's what you're paying additional. That's what the additional things that you're paying if you don't put at least 20% down. So again, if you do less than 20% down, you're paying mortgage insurance every single month. We'll get going here in 2 seconds, but I just want to make that distinction. Now, if you look at a conventional loan versus an FHA loan, one of the differences when it comes to mortgage payments is with your conventional loan, eventually your mortgage payment falls off. It goes away after years of payment. So with a conventional loan, on paper at least, you're looking at in about 10 years, your mortgage insurance goes away. Now, on the FHA side, so if you go with 5% down or anything less than 20% down on the FHA side, your mortgage payment does not go away. Your mortgage payment, your mortgage insurance, your mortgage payment does not go away. Your mortgage insurance does not go away, ever. So with an FHA loan, you never get rid of mortgage insurance. With your conventional, your mortgage insurance eventually goes away within about 10 years, assuming standard appreciation. All right, so that's a big distinction. So for our purposes today, we're actually not even going to do 20% down. We're going to allow mortgage insurance to work for us, or us not have to wait until we get 20% down to purchase a property. You're going to see how feasible it is with 5% down. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a 5% down conventional loan. Now, interest rates change 24/7. So depending on when you're watching this video, your average interest rate right now is going to be different. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to what is the interest rate right now on buying a house. You're going to go to bank rate, and at the top you're going to see right now what's going on. So at the time of this recording, it's August 28th. The national average for a 30-year is 6.51%. That is the national average for a 30-year fixed rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 6.51%. This is the exact same calculation that you can do right now once you get access to this tool. Again, this is the exact same thing that you're going to do. I'm just sharing with you how to do it. All right. Again, our goal here is to find out how much we need to make in order to purchase a home in Greenville right now. How long is our mortgage? We're going to say that our mortgage is 30 years. That's pretty standard. You could do less, including you can even do more, up to 40 years now. But for our purposes today, the most common length term of our mortgage is 30 years. Property tax rate. With the property tax rate, this is really where a lot of value in this particular live stream is going to be found. Now, I'd like to think that the rest of the video is going to be pretty valuable itself as well. However, really the feedback that we get is when we talk property taxes, that's where a lot of the value comes from with this type of content that we provide. So what is a property tax rate in Greenville right now? Well, I can tell you that I don't know exactly. However, we're going to find that answer right now. In order to find the property tax rate that exists right now, and once we find it, for the most part, for you, it's not going to really change that much, depending on when you're watching this video. If you're watching this video in 5 years, yeah, it's probably fluctuated a little bit. But if you're watching this video a month from now, a year from now, chances are the property tax rate is going to be pretty close to the same. But you could always do the exact same thing that I'm about to do in order to find the exact property tax rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Greenville, Texas, property tax rate. And what we're going to do is we're going to spell it correct for one. We're going to go to the city. We're going to first go to the city to see what tax rates we're talking about. So city of Greenville right here. So let's click here and see if they give us the information that we need. How do I find information about the budget? We don't care about that. What is my total tax rate? I would like to know that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. They included everything. So I like this. This is going to be a really good teaching opportunity. Notice that how what is the city's property tax rate is different than what is my total tax rate. I'm glad that they included this, because oftentimes if we didn't know any better, if they didn't have any additional FAQs, and we were just tasked to finding what the property tax rate was, we would just go to the city and say, oh, it's 0.615%. That's not bad. The reality of the situation is that with property taxes here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, the cities vary from 1.8% to about 3%. That's the range in property taxes. Notice that 0.6 is well below, 3 times less than the actual lowest property tax rate that exists in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So again, the average is about 1.8% to about 3%. So us having the understanding of what property taxes are, how they work, is very, very important. So let's talk about where these numbers are coming from, because you see 4 out of the potential 5 that often come up. So in the city of Dallas and in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, all the cities have at least 3 property tax rates that you need to find. At bare minimum, 3 numbers that you need to find that you're going to add together to form your property tax rate. Number 1, that's going to be your city tax rate. Every single city has one. Number 2, your county tax rate. Every single city has that. Your ISD tax rate. Every single city has that. So those 3 need to exist in this world. City, county, ISD. Those 3 numbers need to happen. That is part of your property taxes. Now, the other 2 numbers that come up oftentimes are your higher education tax. So think of like community college, and or your hospital network tax. Think of a hospital network. So here, so if you're in Dallas as an example, think Parkland. If you're in Fort Worth as an example, think JPS Health Network. In this particular case, you have one of those 2 taxes that I was referencing. So here for Greenville, you're looking at 0.65 for the city, 0.5 for the county, 1.19 for the ISD, and then 0.21 for the hospital network. The only one that's not here, which it won't apply to you in this particular case if they don't list it, is the higher education, so community college tax. So if your total taxes are 2.6152. 2.6152. So we're going to do 26512. Actually, we're just going to do that. So this is the way that it's written out. Might be a little bit confusing, but this, you don't need the decimal in this particular breakdown. So you're going to be in a good spot. Just include these 3 numbers and you're going to be good to go. So 2.65 is your property tax rate. This is going to be important for us as we do our calculation on our affordability. So again, this entire tool is designed to give you how much you can afford, how much real estate you can buy. So we need to find what the salary is required in order for us to buy a house in Greenville for $140,000. How much we need to make to buy a house for $350,000, and then how much we need to make to buy a house that's worth $935,000 for the luxury part. Let's continue that now that we know our property tax rate. Now we need to calculate our home insurance. So what are our premiums going to be? Because that's something you're going to be paying monthly to your mortgage servicer, most likely. So the math that we do is pretty simple. All we are multiplying is 0.0075, which essentially is 0.75%. This is how you're reading it. So pretend that there's a decimal right below that 7, before that 7, 0.75% times the value of the home. So this is what we're multiplying against, to give you an idea, which is going to give us the home insurance premium every single month once we do the calculation on the following tab. Now, all of this is information that we have accessible to us right here, right now. All of the heavy lifting, the actual calculation, is going to be done by this particular calculator, this max price calculator in the third tab. So we are just inputting information, and we're going to allow the calculator to do the rest. Mortgage insurance, since we didn't put 20% down in this particular scenario, we are going to be paying mortgage insurance. And we're saying that we have good credit. We're not saying it's excellent. We're not saying it's terrible. We're just saying it's good credit. It's decent credit. That'll be enough for us to calculate what that mortgage insurance is going to be. Homeowners Association, for our purposes today, even though there's a ton of new construction being built in Greenville, I'm actually not going to include HOA, even though technically I probably should. So an HOA oftentimes comes up whenever you're buying a new build. So in like 85% of the new homes that are being built right now are built into an HOA. So they add an HOA component to it. For our purposes today, I'm just not going to include it. Just know that HOAs are going to be all across the board in Greenville. If you're looking at an HOA, it's going to be anywhere from $200 to about $600 per year. That's going to be your ballpark for that area. All right, so let's talk about how much we make. This is something that you have access to. This is something that you know how much you make per year, and you're going to put that here. So this is before taxes. This is before anything else. This is how much you make gross per year. So here we're going to say that we make $50,000 a year. And that's going to be our starting point. Or we're going to mess around with this, but right now we just need a number to start with to see how much we need to make in order to buy this house and this house and this house. So for our purposes today, we're going to say that we make $50,000 and make some course corrections along the way to see what it actually means to be able to purchase a home. Now that we know our income, we also need to include our debt. So debt is something like student loans. This is child support. This is car loans, personal loans, credit cards. This is debt that you incur, that you have. Debt is not to be confused with expenses. Expenses is gas, food, utilities, cell phone bills, insurance, that type of stuff, like normal insurance, not your home insurance. These are expenses. So don't include expenses, include the debt. So also down here is what you're going to be putting that information. So if you have a car loan, just put the car loan here and then put the amount, the minimum monthly payment that you're making on that car loan. Same thing with student loans. Put the student loan here and then also the minimum down payment that the minimum monthly payment that you're making here. And you're going to do the same thing with your co-borrower if you have a co-borrower. So if two people are going to be on that loan, you're going to put their income here and also their debt here as well. Now, again, this is linked down below. This max price calculator is linked down below. All you have to do is go to File, make a copy, and it's yours. So you just save it into your folder. For our purposes today, that's all we're going to put. That's all the information that we need to do. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find out how much we can afford with this $50,000, no debt, in this scenario being existing right now in the market. And based off of this calculator, this is the range of the home that we can afford. So you see that we're looking at anywhere making up being able to purchase a home up to $205,000. So a home that's valued $205,000. So you're eligible for a home that is $205,000. That's the most that you can afford based off of this criteria. Now here's the thing. Simply because you can afford it right today, especially with real estate, doesn't mean that you should. The reason being is because something I talked about earlier, which is property taxes. Property taxes are happening every year. And historically, what's been happening with property taxes is they increase every year. Also, same with home insurance. So while your principal and interest might be the exact same payment, you're going to see the breakdown here shortly. Your property tax rate, your property taxes, and your home insurance is not going to be the same every year. That's actually going to increase based off of historical information. So here you have more than enough to buy that $140,000 home. When we do our calculations, when we work with our clients, we do not suggest you taking a loan on the risk, what we call risky, based off of essentially how much of your income is going towards your housing expense. That's kind of where we categorize these. We do not go on the risky, and we also don't even get to the aggressive part. We like to do our calculations, and when we do our assessments with our clients, we like to stay within moderate and aggressive. So we want a number that $140,000 that we're looking for right now to buy that lowest priced home. We need that 140 to be higher than this and lower than this. So as you can see, it does not meet that requirement right now. So technically, you make more than enough to buy this home. So what we can do is we can lower this real quick. We can lower this to $45,000 and see how much we can afford. We are still in a really good spot, which is good. So what we can do now is we can even go lower than this, and I'll show you. I think at this point it should be well within our boundaries. So remember, our first goal is to find out how much we need to make in order to buy a house that's $140,000 in Greenville, based off of the interest rate, based off of the property tax rates, based off of all the real life scenarios right now that exist in the market. And given the calculation, this $140,000, that number that we're trying to buy, that home that we're trying to buy, falls within our moderate and aggressive requirement. So I would feel comfortable advising you, if you're making this income, that you're going to be able to afford that property. So what I'm going to say is that you would need to make at least this amount in order to be able to afford that home of 140. Does this making sense? Let me know in the comment section down below if this is making sense. If not, please make sure that you ask questions. By all means, please ask any questions that come up. All right, so now that we know how much we need to make in order to buy this $140,000 property, remember that was the first one that we had here. Well, not the first one, it was right around this point, this one right here, assuming that this one you were able to purchase and live within it without necessarily tearing it up and down to make it habitable, if you will. Now what we need to do is find out how much we need to make in order to buy a $350,000 house. So what does our salary need to be to buy a $350,000 home in Greenville? What we're going to do now is we're going to come back here and we're going to go ask for a raise real quick. So what we're going to say is, hey, if I made $85,000, can I afford this $350,000 home in Greenville? So what we're going to do is going to go over here. What was our math? 350. We see that we're just shy of maximizing. Like, if we really stretched ourselves, we could maybe make it work. Maybe if we bought down points, we put more down, whatever, we might be able to make it work. However, remember, for us, the clients that we work with, we do not advise that you max out your how much you can purchase, your affordability. We do not advise that at all, because we've seen it time and time again where you can just barely afford this particular payment when trouble happens, right? So we like to put things a little bit more conservatively, a little bit more leave a little bit more room for error in the event things happen. So again, even though technically you could probably make it work, we're not going to advise that. So what we need is to go back to the well and ask for a raise. So let's go back to the well and ask for a raise. Let's say we make $95,000. How much home can we afford? At that point, that 350 that we're trying to shoot for falls within that moderate and the aggressive. So I would feel comfortable advising you at this point in time that if you make $95,000, you're going to be in a good spot to be able to buy this house of $350,000 in Greenville. Let me know if you have any questions on that. Happy to address them as they come through. All right, so now that we have the first two numbers in place, or the first two salaries in place, now let's go into the luxury space. Now, if we're going to buy that massive home that we saw over here earlier of $935,000, which is 4,600 square feet, how much do we need to make in order to make that happen? Well, we're going to go back to the well, and we're going to say, hey, let's go ask for an additional raise. Let's go back to our boss and say, hey, can you pay me $200,000? How much can I afford with that? Well, we're gonna have to go back to the boss real quick and say, yeah, that 220 was, that 200 was not enough. Let's try $220,000. If you make $220,000, we're getting closer. But we need to get 935. We need to get 935 that fits between this and this. So let's go back to the well, and let's say we make 240,000. What would that look like? And now we've met the criteria, at least our criteria, right? So we needed to buy this house for 935. Well, based off of our calculation, that 935 is well within our window of moderate to aggressive loan. We would feel comfortable advising you that for this income that you're making, 240, you would be able to purchase this home with $935,000. If you're making, if you're making $240,000. So if you're looking to buy a house in Greenville that's around $140,000, you would need to make $40,000. If you're looking to buy a house in Greenville for $350,000, you would need to be making about $95,000. If you're looking into the luxury space in Greenville, which the home available for sale right now is the most expensive home right now is $935,000, you would need to make about $240,000. These are real life scenarios based off of what you're saying, based off of the homes that are available for sale right now, based off of the current real estate market as it exists right here, right now. This is all real time. Now, with that being said, let me explain a little bit of how the mortgage payments work. So this is all based off of, again, max price, how much you can afford. But now, let's pretend we're going to go back to Greenville, and let's just say we have a $600,000 property. You know what? Let's go down a little bit. Let's say, all right, let's just say this $375,000 home exists out there that we want to buy. So 375, let's go find a 375 property in Greenville. All right, so this property right here, let's pretend this is 375. So this property that you're seeing right now, just to give you an idea of the type of real estate that you can buy in the area, just to give you an idea of the breakdown of what how the mortgage payment breaks down. This is the home that we're talking about. So I'm going to breeze through here just to give you this is a very interesting design. So if you're looking to buy this house in Greenville right now, which is nice, I like it, for $375, I'll take it. Hardwood floors, granite countertops, decently maintained. The landscaping might need a little bit of, the front and this is a backyard, I guess. Yeah, I guess this is a backyard. That's the front yard. Okay, well, yeah, the backyard's probably gonna need some work, at least for my taste. But with that being said, let's just say that that's the house that we can afford for $375, which in reality it is. That's based off of the price that it's selling at. So what does this look like? Well, if we wanted to buy that house, we would need to have about just shy of $19,000 for our 5% down payment. We would need to have just north of $9,000 for the estimated closing cost. So for us to come to the closing table with enough money, we would need about $18,000 with the down payment and the closing cost to be able to close on this property, to be able to afford this home. So you're looking at, what is this again? Sorry, I just got a text. I get distracted. $28,000. Did I say 18? $28,000 down payment and closing costs. So $28,000 is what we need to come to the table to be able to close on this property. Our monthly mortgage payment would be roughly $3,500. $2,257 would be the principal and interest. So principal is how much we borrowed. Interest is how much it cost us to borrow that money. Property taxes. Property taxes are a way of life in Texas. That is, it just happened. So with property taxes, you saw the calculation that we just went through. We actually went to the city itself to find out what the property tax rate was, and we just multiplied it times the market value of the home. The good news here even though that number is high. I fully admit that. The good news here is that you're not going to be paying taxes on the market value of the home. You're going to be paying taxes on the assessed value of the home, which is oftentimes less. It's oftentimes less because that's how it's been designed. It basically takes a percentage of the market value. Plus, you have the ability to protest the assessed value every year. Plus, you get exemptions on the home every year. And plus, there's a cap on how much your home can rise in assessed value every single year. So oftentimes, 99% of the time, you're going to find that the assessed value is less than the market value. Homeowner's insurance, you're looking at $235. So your owner's insurance, that's the premium that we estimated. Your mortgage insurance, that's going to be in place until you get 20% ownership of your property. So as you're making, if you have a conventional loan, as you're making payments, once you own 20% of your home, at least 20% of your home, the mortgage insurance will fall away, and and then you no longer have to pay that mortgage insurance. Now, if you get an FHA loan, that mortgage insurance is going to stay there forever and for always. Now, the homeowners association, although we included here, and I didn't include a number for this particular breakdown, but even though we included here, this is actually not part of your mortgage payment. This is paid off in an invoice at the beginning of the year, or depending on how often it's assessed. That is paid off outside of the mortgage. That's not something that you pay within your loan. Folks, that's all for today. Really appreciate you coming through and hanging out. If you found value in this video, please make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. We are growing this channel as fast as we can, and we need your support. If you're looking to buy or sell in Greenville, Texas, or anywhere in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, we would love to support you. We have agents in every single market that specialize in that market. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let us know. If you'd like to work with us, our contact information is down below as well. Talk to you on the next video. Thanks.